Starting recording, here we go. Alright, so welcome if you're just tuning in the VOD. For this replay we have, ZeroData lied to me. We have ZeroData playing Riven against a GP. So, in my update on the website I said he's playing GP, but my mistake, he is playing against a GP. So, we have ZeroData playing Riven with Heal Ignite against a Gangplank with Exhaust and Flash. Pretty standard summoner spells for those two champions. As far as the rest of teams go, for ZeroData's team, we have Graves Janna bot lane, and that'll be against a Soraka Vayne. So that'll be an interesting lane. Graves Janna definitely has a lot of damage, and probably should beat Vayne, but Vayne with a Soraka is going to have so much sustain. It's going to be kind of difficult. So the first thing we see is ZeroData is going to steal the race from Nocturne. They will be up by the time Nocturne gets to him, if he does so. He just has to be careful and not lose very much HP, is the only problem. And the other thing I'm going to say is he started with a very early ward, which might be a mistake, especially with taking these race. So taking this race forced him to already use one potion, and it means he only has one potion left. So he's not even full HP still. So laning against a Gangplank with only one potion is a big mistake. So that early ward, I mean the jungler is Lee Sin, so Lee Sin is probably going to gank early, and we do see here comes the level 1 gank. Or I guess Lee Sin's probably level 2. That Lee Sin's really known for. So that ward was helpful to see that gank, but you could also just assume that that gank's going to happen anyway. Because that's a pretty common gank for Lee Sin. And so this is ZeroData is in a really rough spot right now. He only has one potion, and he's down to 400 HP already. And like I said, starting with only one potion in lane against a Gangplank is a horrible idea, because Gangplank, the way he lanes is he just parlays you all day. He just Qs you and Qs you and Qs you. And it does a lot of damage. And if you don't have the sustain to soak those Qs up, that's how he wins lane. So while that ward did allow him to see the Lee Sin gank coming, what could have happened is you could have just assumed that Lee Sin was going to do that gank, because it's pretty common for Lee Sin to do. And another thing I want to say is ZeroData he went to trade with that Gangplank. Like I said, since he only has one potion while Gangplank setting on 5, that trade is really aggressive, and you really shouldn't make that trade. ZeroData should just probably go back to base after this wave, because Gangplank's just either going to kill him or force him out of lane really soon here. Nocturne's doing a good job of just zoning the Gangplank for ZeroData, allowing him to get these last hits. Like, if Nocturne wasn't there doing this, ZeroData wouldn't have even been able to get those last hits. And in fact, Nocturne's still there, so definitely babysitting Zero right now. But here comes the Gangplank Q. So this is good. So ZeroData made a really good play there, and he heal baited the Gangplank. Saw that Gangplank got greedy, and so with the parlay, Zero's data was maybe sitting at like 100 HP, and then so once he started fighting the GP, he healed immediately, which is it was good. Then he also ignited the GP, and Nocturne came in. It was an easy kill for them with an easy heal bait. So that's a pretty big advantage for ZeroData coming back into lane. He has the kill on GP. He has 7 CS advantage. So Doran's Blade, it's very common on Riven to go like 2 Doran's Blade, Bloodthirster, Guardian Angel. That's pretty much the standard Riven build right now. Okay, so we see ZeroData whining about the jungle camping his lane when he just had Nocturne sit in his bush for a good 3 minutes, completely babysitting him. Maybe not, okay, not 3 minutes, but it was like a good minute, 30 seconds. It was a long time for a jungler to sit, so. There's a mistake right here to not go ward right away. He had the opportunity to ward as his lane's pushed. So if Lee Sin ganks him right now, that ward in his inventory is really not very helpful. So like, there's no point in that was an unfortunate crit that Gangplank just got right there. ZeroData was definitely going to come ahead of on that trade until Gangplank crit him. So that's the bad thing about laning against Gangplank, is if he gets like lucky crits on his parlays, you're pretty much screwed. So the way this lane is working, ZeroData is going to want to make sure that Gangplank does not get free parlays on him. That's the big thing right now. So ZeroData is going to try to force every time Gangplank parlays him, is just going to try to jump on him and exchange melee damage. Because GP is not going to be able to exchange just straight blows. But if Gameplank's able to get a lot of parlays on ZeroData for free, you see he's out of health potion, so he doesn't have any more sustain, then he can just harass him out of lane. GP, as far as summoner spells, is going flash exhaust, and his exhaust is down, so that's a summoner spell that so the only thing he could possibly do is flash. He doesn't have like an exhaust to help fight with or anything. So I don't remember if he flashed when Nocturne and Riven killed him or not. I don't think he did though. So good aggression from ZeroData here. Good harass, trying to force the Gangplank out of lane. He's taking two turret hits that were probably unnecessary to take. But other than that, it's doing a good job of really keeping the pressure on Gangplank. So this dive is risky because the exhaust is back up, and yeah, definitely gonna die and trade kills for that. This isn't a horrible trade because since he's pushed up to his turret right now, Gangplank's just missed. It was probably about 6 ranged minions and 3 or 4 melee minions. And let's count how many ZeroData misses before he gets back to lane. So Gangplank missed maybe 9-10 minions. And see, now we just have normal wave against wave. So at this point, it should be pretty even, the minion trading. So they're probably both going to lose most of this wave. But that's like Gangplank missed like, you know, around 10 minions more than Riven does. So it's actually not a horrible idea to dive a turret if you're that pushed up to their turret, because they're going to miss a lot more golden XP than you are. So it looks like he has missed about the same amount outside of those like 7 or so that died to the turret, so probably a trade in Riven's favor. Now ZeroData is 15 CS above the Gangplank, so things are looking good. Gangplank has Philosopher's Stone and dodge boots now, so he's definitely has some sustain and regen, which Riven does not have right now. Alright, so that's a good gank by Lee Sin. Just a little too much aggression by ZeroData there. But Nocturne is there to pick up the kill. We'll see if Zero can get out of the Lee Sin. Nope, Lee Sin is going to catch him, but Nocturne might be able to pick this up also. Yeah, looks like Nocturne will be able to pick this kill up. So that's not bad. That was a really good counter gank by Nocturne. It was a really good job of Nocturne to be there when Lee Sin was there. So still in their advantage. The one thing I did want to say is like Gangplank was able to harass Zero down a little bit before Zero initiated. Like GP got 2 or 3 parlays because ZeroData was focused on last hitting, and so ZeroData started that fight like 200 to 300 HP down, and so like ZeroData probably would have lived if that parlay harass never either he never let that parlay harass hit him, or he just fought earlier before GP could get those 2 or 3 Qs on him. But this Nocturne is doing a really good job. He's had really strong lane presence. He picked up that kill middle we saw, and he's really controlling top lane. So we see ZeroData's CS is pretty low, only at 58, but GP's is also low at only 46. This is kind of risky aggression because GP has so many minions, but Riven is really strong, especially now that you have Brutalizer. Like, if you can get in melee range and exchange, you're going to be way ahead of Gangplank, because how Gangplank wants to lane is just shoot you and run away. He doesn't really want to get in there and fight you, especially as Riven. So anytime you can force him to fight you, it's a good idea. So good kill, good kill. The burst damage of Riven is pretty crazy, as we just saw. So it's a little risky to push this, though we do see both Lee Sin and Xerath were middle, so it's completely fine. But now they're missing, so you should probably just assume that they're coming top, since we don't have any ward coverage. Actually, Nocturne's chasing Lee Sin, so it's fine. Yeah, okay, so we still see Xerath and Lee Sin middle, so don't need to be afraid. You get the free turret, so good job there. 1 second, sorry. Okay, so things are going pretty well. Definitely winning over the GP. But now that the turret's gone, we'll have to see if either ZeroData is either going to need to keep the pressure on this lane, or go help other lanes and like go push middle lane, or go help control Dragon and things like that. Because right now the Gameplank's probably going to try to freeze his lane right here, so that the lane just stays here and doesn't move, and just farm away. GP is going to try as hard as he can not to push his lane way up here. And here, it looks like he actually is pushing, because what he's probably trying to do is he just wants his lane to reset. His lane was naturally pushing, so even if all he did was just last hit, his lane would still push, just slower. So he's probably just going to try to push really hard, get his lane to reset, because he wants his lane to come all the way back down here, and to just freeze it, so... GP is still pretty weak item-wise. He has Sustain with Vamp Scepter and a Philosopher's Stone, but the only thing he has that makes him more like stronger in fights is just armor. He just has Ninja Tabby and Cloth Armor. He has like no attack damage from items. You see the 28 AD he has is from his E. That's the only thing he has for him damage-wise. Yeah, and so that's why GP is having such a hard time against Riven right now. GP has no items that make him stronger. Versus you see Riven has 2 Doran's Blades and a Brutalizer. That's going to make Riven a lot stronger in fights. You see the 60 plus 60 AD. Versus even with Gangplank E, the plus 28. So you see Riven has like 40 AD on the Gangplank. And is only like 17 armor behind, so... So good gank by this Nocturne. That should be a kill on the Gangplank. Actually, no, he's gonna ult to run away. He is out of mana, and this Lee Sin though, this should probably be a double kill as long as Xerath isn't coming. But it looks like Xerath will be coming. Cass is pinging it, so this is dangerous to go into this bush because Xerath might be in this area. But now Cass is here, so they don't have to be as afraid. So it was silly for the Gangplank to turn back. I don't know why he turned back to fight that. Like, Lee Sin and Riven are much stronger, or sorry, Nocturne and Riven right now are much stronger than the Lee Sin and the Gangplank. You see, like, Lee Sin, all he had was boots and, like, Mark Treads and Wriggles, but Nocturne had a Phage and a Wriggles. And I was already mentioning how much stronger Riven is than Gangplank, so that was a big mistake by Gangplank to, like, run back in and act like they could fight that. I don't know, that was weird. And we see Gangplank still has no items that make him stronger. So ZeroData can still be really aggressive. So when you take the first turret, you can still put a lot of pressure on the lane, and you can push up. And it's kind of dangerous, but this ward is going to provide really nice vision, so like we know Lee Sin's there. And what this is doing is this is wasting Lee Sin's time. Like, sure, ZeroData isn't getting to farm, but Lee Sin is not getting to farm either. And he's also not helping other lanes, so that's fine. Like, these camps are probably up for Lee Sin, and they're just not getting killed and they're going to waste, so. Alright, so we see ZeroData is doing a good job of catching back up in farm. Now he's at 111. You see it's still a little low for this point in the game. Like, we see Vayne is at 140. We see Lee Sin coming from the top for a gank on the Riven. And ZeroData is he's being brave. He says, "Come, I'm fine." Guess he wants to fight this. You see he's actually doing really well. Cass with a really good ult over the wall. So this is definitely going to be a double kill, looks like. Oh, but you missed your ulti. So Cass has to ignite, which is kind of sad because ZeroData missed the ulti. If the ulti landed, it just would have killed the Gangplank, and there'd be no need for the Cassiopeia ignite. So things are going really well this game so far. I haven't been paying attention. I don't know who has been getting Dragon, but looks like ZeroData's team is maybe getting this Dragon. No, they have to back. Xerath is probably there, but Cass was top helping ZeroData. But this Gangplank is behind 1 and 5. The Philosopher's Stone is helping him. Like, he's only 30 CS behind Riven, which is probably the Philosopher's Stone is probably making up that difference. So, like, he's saying GP is worthless right now, and he is worthless right now because all he has is armor. He has no like attack damage or anything, but he's still going to be useful. You know, in a little bit. He still has decent income. And okay, so that was just silly by that Cass. She should not have been there. Excuse me. But it did zone the enemy team out away from the dragon, so Nocturne like was able to take that dragon no problem. So yeah, so what ZeroData is being really aggressive on the Xerath right now because he knows Xerath just used ulti to kill that Cass, and a Xerath at that ulti really isn't that strong and really can't do all that much. So that's why you saw him be really aggressive right there. He wasn't afraid because he didn't have to be. So ZeroData, he saw that Lee Sin and he went to the blue to help kill Lee Sin. They probably didn't need his help because like Nocturne was closing in and Janet and Graves probably would have been fine against him. And what he could have done is he could have gone top, and if he went top he would have saved his turret and he would have gotten all this farm. But instead he chose to go help pick up that Lee Sin. So and that was kind of a mistake. I think he should have gone top because they would have been fine with taking care of that Lee Sin by themselves, and that turret would have been saved. So one thing, ZeroData did go for an early bread ginseng tea, or an elixir of fortitude as it's normally called. That 250 gold gives you a really nice buff for 4 minutes, so what he's doing there is like that 250 gold is an advantage he has over Gangplank, so he gets the potion to get an even stronger advantage. And if you're going to make a move like that to get an elixir this early in the game, you really have to make something happen from it. You have to make that 250 gold worth it. So I don't know if I agree with grabbing that early elixir. I feel like he didn't need it. He was so far ahead already that I don't think he really needed the elixir. It seems just kind of overkill. But that's alright. So at this point in the game, for about like 20 minutes and on, you have to really start worrying about Baron. You have to always have it warded, and you have to always be thinking, okay, could they possibly be doing Baron? And you have to play, you need to play more carefully. Like, if ZeroData, if like Nocturne stop, and ZeroData and Nocturne both die, top lane, like right here, to like 4-man gank, they lose Baron. and that's gonna let the enemy team come back into the game. And like right now, ZeroData's team doesn't really need to take Baron. They have a very strong advantage right now. They're very strong and probably don't need the Baron to win the game. They just need to keep using the advantage that they have and not give that up. So the only way that they could do Baron, that they should do Baron, is if a very good situation presents itself. They shouldn't try to force a risky Baron. And so they did see 2 bottom, and that's why they're going for this Baron. But we don't see them anymore, so they're probably already coming back up. Yeah, so they get off Baron and fight. So, and this is one thing I want to say. Anytime, okay, so that was pretty bad right there for our ZeroData. We knew that they were like all at this turret mid area, and ZeroData just walked around this corner and got completely 100% caught by like 4 people. You see, with fog, they were right here, and ZeroData couldn't see them. And he just walked around this corner and instantly died. And yeah, and we see him typing in chat. There goes the Baron. This is what I was talking about. This point in the game, a silly death like that is probably going to cost Baron, and this is going to 100% let this team get back into the game. Yeah, this is really not good. One thing I do want to mention that we'll see is that like 3 people on their team got off Baron to go fight them, and that's the proper play. When you're doing Baron and you have an advantage, like you just killed someone, so it's 5v4, and you try to take Baron off that advantage, if the enemy team comes to contest, you get off Baron and you fight them, because what you're really doing is you're trying to force a fight. You're making them choose, do we get Baron for free, or are you going to fight us? And if they come to contest you, you have to get off Baron and fight them. Especially with like only 1 person dead. Like if their team had stayed on Baron, ZeroData's team could have come and fought them 4v5, because Baron's like an extra person for them and would have done a lot of damage. And not only that, but when you're doing Baron, you give the power of initiation to the other team, because you know, you're all sitting in this area and it's very dangerous. So alright, so like the game right now, the teams are even. That misplay, like ZeroData getting caught right here and giving them Baron, that just let them 100% back into the game. And while the Baron buff is up, the enemy team is a little stronger ahead. So, like I said, ZeroData is my teammate, and he is every time I've pretty much okay, I shouldn't say every time because he carried me last night, but he's done this a lot when I do a queue with him. He's just thrown games by getting caught and dying near Baron when Baron's up. He's pretty famous for it. So, and that's why I had said something earlier about watching that, because I had a feeling it was coming. But like the game's definitely not lost yet at all. Like Gangplank has a Zeal and a Phage, so he has some damage items now. But still, like Riven is still much stronger. So just with good play, they should be fine. This is dangerous with ZeroData. Like if they see him, they can just collapse on him and kill him. This is a very aggressive position. I don't know why he's going in. They have Baron buff, so this is a really bad fight to initiate. We'll see if it works out for them, but I don't know. It was good because they were all type. Okay, so it did work out really well for them. And so, what happened there? Fighting right here is a really good spot for ZeroData's team, because Cass is really high damage output, and if she can land her ult on a lot of people, that's really good. And so Graves is also very high AoE damage output, and I've mentioned this in my other videos. When you have a high AoE output team, fighting in tight places like this is a really good idea. So when Riven jumped in, she got her because Riven does a lot of AoE damage too. Like her Q and her W and her ulti, all of those hit like 4 or 5 people. Cass ult hit 4 or 5 people. Janna Tornado knocked up 4 or 5 people. Graves AoE hit 4 or 5 people. So that's why they won that fight, because the enemy team bunched in this really tight corridor, and they were able to land all of their AoEs very easily. So it was a really good initiate by ZeroData. It was risky because if he had been seen, they could just turn and kill him before his team could react. Like, they could turn and fight him over here, and his team would have to scramble and get themselves out of position to try to fight to save him. So it was a risky play, but it ended up being worth it. This is also really risky. Yeah, so you never want to dive very far into the enemy base when you have when they're all missing and you don't have everyone on your team. So they dove really far, like dove here where the whole enemy team was missing, and they only had 3 people. So that was pretty risky, and that risk definitely didn't pay off that time. So, yep, Graves just got caught. Like, Graves didn't need to get caught there. He was fine to get out. So this is a prime example of, if people ever say like throwing the game, this is what they're talking about. Like, ZeroData's team had such a huge advantage, like it would have been really hard for them to lose the game. But because ZeroData got caught right here, they got a free baird, and then because of so the enemy team was back in it, but ZeroData's team just had a really good team fight, which made it less. So that was probably too aggressive with ZeroData. As soon as GA popped, he was low health, and he just went in on them. He had the summoner heal, but I think he might have gotten ignited. Zereth was the only one with ignite, but it looked like the summoner heal didn't heal for as much. He probably just took way too much damage. But so ZeroData died here, cost them the Baron, which let the enemy team get back into the game. And then, but ZeroData made up for it with a really good initiation here, which let his team take the lead again. But then, diving here swung the momentum back into the enemy team's favor. So, right now this game is very back and forth, but it shouldn't be. ZeroData's team should have just ran away with this game, but because of some silly mistakes, it's not going to be like that. Now we see in fights, Xerath is doing tons of damage. Like, to quote Freak, I think Xerath is a really strong AP mid right now, bordering on OP. But a lot of people don't seem to play him. And the reason why I think he's so strong is with his high range, he can get his full like burst combo off on just about anyone he wants in a fight. And that's really strong. You know, the like champions like Annie and other champions with high AP bursts, as like a squishy 80 carry, you can avoid getting killed by them because with just proper positioning, you stay out of their range. But with Xerath, like, his range is so long, you're either going to be 100% useless and out of the fight, or you're going to be in his range. So he's tricky to play against as like squishy 80 carries. So another thing I want to mention is that right now Nocturne is kind of tanky, and Riven is not very tanky at all. And this is the tank line for ZeroData's team. So they don't have a very strong, like, tanky front line. Like, their Gangplank is definitely more tanky than the Riven, and their Lee Sin is probably about as tanky as Nocturne right now. So right now ZeroData is not with the team. Like, if he was with the team, I think that they probably could have had a good fight here, but he wasn't, and so that's okay. But no one died. Like, it was just a little skirmish, so it's okay. This is a silly face trick. You don't know if the whole enemy team's there, and like Cass is really far away, so if the whole enemy team was there and ready, it would have effectively been a 4v5. This is a really bad spot to try to fight at all, because you could see Xerath was in protection of his turret, so he couldn't get hit by melee champions without them being in turret range, so you never want to fight when their ranged people can have protection of turret. So ZeroData should not have run this way, he should have run up towards his team. I think this is a big mistake. Yeah, I was gonna say, he's caught, so he might as well just fight this Lee Sin. He's actually, wow, he actually 1v1'd the Lee Sin with like 200 HP. So that was pretty ridiculous. But that was still a mistake in positioning. He should have ran up towards his team instead of away from his team. That was ridiculous that he was able to 1v1 that Lee Sin with like 200 HP. So that's definitely the strength of a Bloodthirster. Cass just got caught for like no reason, and now Gray's turn to get caught. So getting caught like those, that's what loses you games. Like, there's no reason for the Cass to get caught there, and Graves also just got caught. At least he took the Vayne with him, which is going to severely limit their pushing power off of this advantage, but still, just, you know, getting caught is going to lose the game. And now Nocturne just got caught, again for no reason. Good tornado by Janna, so Nocturne will make it out alive. So this is just an example of just throwing the game away by getting caught like over and over. Yeah, it's not just one person. Like we saw ZeroData get caught to start this and give them the Baron. We just saw Cass get caught. We just saw Graves get caught. We just saw Nocturne get caught. So this was silly of ZeroData. He should know that this is warded. It's been pretty obvious that they have complete map control in this area. He also should be like running back towards his team. Again, like when he got caught here, he should run this way, back towards the team. And it's hard when you're playing to have to not only worry about where their team is and have good sense of positioning about their team, but also have a good sense of positioning about your team. But I think ZeroData could have totally lived if instead of running up when he got caught right here, he just ran this way, back to his team. So this is going to cost him Baron again. So once again, ZeroData getting caught, costing the team Baron. So that was just an unnecessary risk going out here by yourself. Whenever Baron's up, like, you can't make risks like that. You just can't. So this might be game right here. This Baron with and Nocturne just died because he was trying to steal it. Graves is low HP. Now Cass got caught, and Janna might go down too. So this might be game. It's definitely going to be an inhibitor. It should be game. They can definitely still defend their double turrets, but it's for sure going to be an inhibitor. If they don't do anything stupid, they should still be able to defend their double turrets, and this won't be game, but it is an inhibitor, and they still have the Baron buff, so... So ZeroData picked up a Hex Drinker, which is probably a good idea. It'll be really helpful because of the shield, the 300 magic damage shield against Xerath. And since that shield scales with magic resist, because it's just like 300 extra HP, so your effective HP will take into account your magic resist. So that probably is going to give him, well, it reduces magic damage by like 63%. So you know, it's going to give him a good like 600-700 bonus health against magic resist, something like that. I don't know. Maybe not that much. So right now his team definitely is behind again. So the enemy team has the advantage, so they have to play passively. They have the Baron buff, so this is a very aggressive move by their team and really risky to go try to take this dragon when the enemy team has Baron. They didn't see it though, and they're not reacting. Either they didn't see it or they didn't care, so... is a good move. They got the dragon. Dragon's a lot less important at this point in the game, but I mean it's still helpful. Though global gold is always good. So. So this is dangerous to try to protect this turret while they have Baron buff. Especially with an enemy Xerath. Like, yep, Xerath is just going to sit over here and poke, and can probably just blow up someone if they try to protect this turret. So, yeah, so it's a good idea when they have a Baron and are pushing like this, just let them have exposed turrets. But, protecting inhibitor turrets is very important. Like, they shouldn't let them have this turret for free. They should force them to try to dive them here. But don't ever fight. Like, if you're in this position, don't ever fight out here. Force them to dive you. And so their team needs to rotate now because the enemy team is rotating towards the bottom. And ZeroData just got caught by Vayne, so Zero's going to have to go heal, and that's going to let them maybe take a turret. They're going to at least put a lot of pressure on this turret. Graves just got caught for really no reason to be that close. Yeah, so he had to flash. There's no reason to flash, and that also baited the Nocturne into going on them. So that was a big mistake by Graves positioning-wise. Cass just missed her ult. Like, getting your ult but not stunning anyone is really bad on Cass, especially at this point in the game. So, yeah, this is going to be game. What happened this game is kind of everyone on ZeroData's team just took turns making stupid mistakes. That's all that happened. Like, Zero getting caught, giving them Baron. And then right here, this Graves getting caught. And then this Cass missing ult. And then this Nocturne going in when he shouldn't have. And so, like, ZeroData definitely made some big mistakes in positioning that got him caught. And both times Zero got caught, it cost them Barons. But then, like, through the rest of his game, his team also made pretty dumb mistakes. Just getting caught for, like, no reason. So, that was just an example of an entire team just taking turns and throwing the game. It was like they had a ball. It was like throw the game ball. Where they just passed it and it's like, okay, your turn to throw the game. And then they just did it. So that was a rough game, and those games are really frustrating. I've definitely played in those games where, like, you make a mistake, you're like, oh, I just made a horrible mistake, but it's okay. I'll stop making mistakes, I'll make up for it. And then, like, you start getting in the zone and playing well, then you have a teammate that just makes, like, another horrible mistake. And you're like, oh, okay, well, it's okay, because I just made a mistake like that, so I can't say anything. And then you're, like, getting back into the game, and then a different teammate just makes, like, another same stupid mistake. And so, yeah, those games are rough, but for ZeroData, you just have to make, like, you just can't get caught. And you just have to always be aware of the other team and if they're missing and if you can go in or not. Like, you had such a strong advantage over that gangplank early game, but you completely lost that advantage because of the silly mistakes and just getting caught. So, yeah, that's all I have to say. Is don't get caught. And there were a couple times when you did get caught a little bit and you chose to run away that you could have ran away towards your team and been totally fine, but instead you ran away from your team. So. Just always watch, like, where your team is also, because that's really important. You need to have a sense of where your team is, because a lot of times, like, it's always better to, like, run towards your team, even if it might be, like, not the best way to run away from the people who are chasing you. Running towards your team is still probably going to be safer. So, alright, well, thanks for watching. Unfortunately, that's the only game I have time for today. But thanks a lot for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. I have some real life stuff to take care of today, so that was the only one. But thanks a lot for watching. If you're tuning into the VOD, thanks a lot for watching the VODs. Keep watching. Feel free to visit my website at rockalockalulu.com. I'll keep you guys updated there. I will have a guide to the attack move command. I'll talk about, like, what it is, how you do it, why it's important, and the 3 biggest situations where you want to do it. and those would include like chasing through brush, kiting, and in team fights / last sitting to make sure you don't move too close. So yeah, so stay tuned, check my website for updates on that, and expect that guide soon. So thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you guys.